This is the Stock Day Podcast, sponsored by I-ON Digital, providing secure, compliant ecosystems you can trust. That's I-ON Digital. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews. Public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world. Here's your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, I'm bringing you a brand new company. Super excited to have them on it. We found them about 30 to 40 days ago. The name of the company is I-ON Digital Corp, and they trade on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol IONI, around 27 cents. Now, my next guest just might have revolutionized the next ecosystem for digitalization for unmined gold that is still under the ground. You heard that right. Here is the CEO going to bring us up to speed, Mr. Carlos Montoya. Carlos, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Everett, and thanks for having me today.
You know, I was doing my research and I thought, wow, this is a really captivating company that's probably going to meet some unmet needs. That being said, precious metal digitalization, specifically gold, seems to be your particular focus on I-ON Digital. Now, what benefits does your asset digitalization ecosystem provide to address the growing market awareness surrounding coins, stable coins, and even crypto?
Well, again, thanks for having me today. I think that the whole idea here is, how do we create a fluid value placeholder for a precious metal? Our focus has been gold. That's been true north. But you can do this with any range of precious metals and or rare earth metals. So the idea is not so much to create the digital asset as a unit. In this case, we structured it as a compliant security, a private security. The whole idea is how do you capture it for independent, a review, independent visibility, and independent access by investors, by institutional players, and or regulators that want to see what you're doing. So what the ecosystem allows you to do, it allows you to capture it in independent custody for buy, sell, trade, transfer, pledge, hypothecation, and you're effectively working off of what, through our ecosystem, we've effectively or historically tied to the daily LBMA price. So you are, with the features that we've added to it, including a 5-to-1 multiple. So we only use proven precious metals, and again, focused on gold. There's a deep dive onboarding process to make sure that we're comfortable with the proven aspect, and a historical look at the history of permits pulled and ownership and documentary evidence of title. And then ultimately what we do from there is we have a 5-to-1 coverage. We discount it down for those who, are concerned that they don't have a physical, coin or a physical, 1 ounce bar of gold to keep on their hope chest. This is an institutional asset that has fluidity and can move. So, we were the first, in this, I think we have a number of firsts here. We were the first to create to establish a digital asset as a security. We were the first to get a major law firm, legal opinion, the first to follow SEC, Act guidelines for security disclosures, first to add anti-money laundering, bank secrecy, and all those things. I suspect that there may be others out there now, but we like those first, and with I-ON, we're going to also have a public element for to continue to add a public trading element to continue to add liquidity to the asset and to the underlying company itself.
Yeah, I have a lot of different mining companies that come on my show every year, probably anywhere from 20 to 50. And one of the biggest problems of them, one is raising money. That's one big problem. Two is it takes anywhere from 2 to 3 years for them to start seeing, even after they do a 43-101 essay and discover that they're sitting on, anywhere from 100,000 to 1 million ounces of gold or silver. It still takes them years and years to either farm that out or bring it up out of themselves. How are you going to solve some of those problems?
Well, I mean, that's a big problem, for sure. Just the permitting process, in the Southwest, we see sometimes where we see claims that, have 34 to, 40 different layers of, regulatory approvals from local to state to federal to land management to, Bureau of, of Indian Affairs and all those different things. I'm using the historical name of the, of the agency, right? So yeah, it can take years, mobilization, so on and so forth. So what we, project to do, what we look to do is to create liquidity without having to, with the claim holder and or on our own claims, without having, to, go through that entire, process. Even look at the specter of raising money to buy yellow iron or buy mining, equipment, right? In some places, there's no access to funding for equipment, or for leases and so on and so forth. So it's a real problem, especially for junior
mining
claim holders.
Absolutely. Hey, I understand that you were the inventor and architect of the first digital ecosystem dedicated to digitalization of gold into the SEC compliant and institutional grade, also asset-backed securities. That being said, how has this business model advanced, and why does it fulfill an important role in today's emerging DeFi financial services landscape?
Well, I think that, in terms of how it's evolved, there are, there's already orbits out there in circulation. The asset is out there in circulation. It doesn't trade at great volume, at the present time, because there's really never been a market maker approach to it.
Right.
To go out and work with the broker dealers, the investment bankers, the, wealth managers. We also have a play here, or what we're going to do is, we're going to be adding some other, what I would call wholesale banking components to some bonds to the marketplace that would be backed by the asset, so that we can continue to layer it into the U.S. and global financial systems. So we have, several steps that, we have to take. Again, having the publicly traded unit allows us to, to secure the type of funding that it requires to do a truly, credible, U.S. and global rollout.
I want to get back to my original statement, which is really incredible, that someone, I don't know if anybody else is doing this or you guys are the first, but there is an additional emphasis in your business model by converting unmined gold still in the ground into an asset that can be used on the balance sheet as a junior mining company. Why is this so important going forward for mining industry markets?
Well, I think that, a lot of claim holders, not everybody buys claims or acquires claims with the intent to, to mine, right? Some folks inherit them. Some folks, they are passed down through, posterity. Other folks, were told don't mine until, it's Armageddon and gold's at $20,000. So what this does is create a value placeholder now, something you can put on your balance sheet, right? A lot of folks have assays or they have, estimates or whatever. Not everybody's walking around with a current 43101, right?
Correct.
Done by geologists from the Colorado Schools of Mines and Minerals, for example. So with that 43101, it starts to give us a look at what is there. And, then we add a number of layers of deep dive, diligence to make sure that we understand. So once you create the orbits, and once we validate and establish or create the digital asset, I should say, it could be anything, could be copper, could be rhodium, et cetera. The focus is gold. Once you create the digital asset, then you have something that, as long as you can validate that it trades, that it sells, our goal is ultimately to go from, roughly, 400,000 or 500,000 of these digital gold certificates in circulation to increase the, the volume in trade to, 15 to 20 million. then I think you really have a highly fluid, highly accepted asset that is so far, differentiated from all the other crypto assets that are out there, right? It's got a hard, a collateral piece. It's fully transparent. It's fully disclosed. It's pegged to a known, index. It's very ubiquitous. Anybody who goes online or, watches, some of these television networks knows what the price of gold is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My guest today has been Carlos Montoya. He is the CEO of I-ON Digital Corp. Look him up. You can find him on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol IONI. Carlos, before I let you go, I'm going to give you the last word. What is it that you want my listeners, your stockholders, to take away from today's interview?
Yeah, I think that, and I really appreciate it again, Everett. I think the key here, and this is going to have to, be the mentality when you look at digital assets. You can't create, massive amounts of wealth, right, that can disappear, right, or that are tied in terms of pricing to depending on what side of the bed some celebrity wakes up on each morning, without naming names, right? So do you have a fungible asset, a tangible asset that gives you a security interest in the asset itself, in a pool of the asset itself, and it can be moved to your banker or can be moved to your wealth management desk, and you can see what you have at any one time. It's not just that you're taking Johnny coin and trading for Susie coin within a wallet on some exchange, right?
Right.
You can use this asset to develop wealth and develop, ultimately some liquidity in your claims while they remain, safely in the greatest vault, demand, right? Mother Earth. So it's going to take marketing. And it's going to take a lot of market making, but I think that ultimately the wealth at stake here and the potential impact on consumers and business alike, there's no way that the regulators, the respective regulators aren't going to look at these things, right? So we've tried to stay right in line with what the Europeans are doing with Basel III and what the U.S. government is tethering out in terms of guidelines from the Federal Reserve and the various regulators who are ultimately going to be in this space, right?
As for my listeners, if you want to know more about this company, again, you can go on the OTCQB, look them up. Their ticker symbol is IONI. Also, you can go over to their website, IONDigitalCorp.com. Carlos, I want to thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you become a regular, come back every 30 or 60 days and give us an update, because I'm very interested in this space, and I'm intrigued how this is all going to come about. So thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, Everett. Have a great day.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by La Jolla Media, LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are for educational and research purposes. Stock Day encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional.